Good evening. Let's see who we've got here. Artis and Ashanti, nice to see you. How is everyone this evening?
I'm good.
Excellent. I'm going to go ahead and turn up my volume here. All right, let's see. Okay, I think I can hear you guys now. All right, I need to go ahead and pull up our classroom as well. I hope you guys are having a great Saturday night. It is just about 9 o'clock, and we have switched up our times again. I'm trying to have a variety of times for you guys this term to see if I can hit some different people. And Artis, we haven't seen you in before, so this was a time that apparently worked for you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. And Ashanti, nice to see you again. Okay, let me go ahead and get logged in here and get our classroom up and running. There we go. All right. So this is our week 3 meeting because I am traveling this week and I wanted to make sure that I was able to get it recorded for you guys and turn it into our lovely YouTube that we use on a weekly basis. And so I thought I would have a quick meeting this evening to get the information up and ready for you. Also, if you'll notice, I have been submitting some things under the news topics, and this one is about submitting late work. So I just wanted to go over this with everyone. You know, it's a really busy time of year. We are in the middle of all of the holidays, and 2 weeks from yesterday was Christmas, so, or will be Christmas. And these last couple of weeks before the holiday always seems to kind of get away from people. So I want to remind everybody that if we look at our schedule for the course, that there is a built-in break week here. The dates are a little bit weird for it. It starts, the break week actually is the 27th or 28th through the 3rd. Of course, Christmas obviously is in that. So it kind of straddles 2 different weeks. So if we look here at the week of December 21st through 27th, which is not this week that we're going into, it's the following week. But I wanted to point it out to you today so that you can kind of take a look at your schedule for that week. The idea is to get the work done between the 21st and the 25th. Now, of course, between the 25th and the 2nd, that is technically the break week. Now, that doesn't mean that anything happens except for the fact that we won't have a meeting. You technically don't have to turn anything in during that time. And I may or may not be grading depending on my schedule as well. However, I wanted to remind everyone that if you are behind, and I know, you know, again, it happens sometimes this time of the year. If you are behind, then just keep in mind that that week the classroom is still open. So that if you owe me a paper from week 1 or week 2 or week 3, that break week is going to be a good week to get that caught up, because then when we get back on the 3rd of January, there's one quick week, and that week always flies by before the end of the term. So that's just kind of a little bit of a heads up for you as to where we're going in the next couple of weeks. Okay, so any questions about that?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay. All right, good. I just wanted to point that out. Okay, so tonight we're going to take a quick look at this week right here, December 7th, or I'm sorry, December 14th to the 20th. Let's get the right week going here. 2 discussion boards, an assignment, and a quiz, kind of the you know, the typical stuff that you're seeing in this term. So let's go ahead and look at the first discussion board due on Wednesday. Many business leaders say something to the effect that we practice empowerment because we don't expect our employees to leave their brains at the door. What do you think they're talking about when they say that? Any idea? What does that mean to you? We empower people because we don't expect that they're leaving their brains at the door. They're kind of giving their employees some credit, right? In other words, you know, when you walk through the door to work, your employer expects that you're not leaving your common sense at the door. You're not leaving skills that you've gained in other places of employment. You're not leaving your life experience at the door and walking in with nothing in hand. So, empowerment is this idea that we give people the ability to maybe make their own destiny, so to speak. We empower people, we give them the ability to make some decisions, to have some autonomy in the job that they're doing. I don't know if any of you have ever had a job where you felt like you were micromanaged. And I know some of you, I think, have, because you've talked about some of this in our discussions already. Micromanagement for most people drives people crazy. Most of us, think we're adults and we are capable of handling a job, or else we wouldn't have taken the job and we wouldn't have been hired in the first place. And so most people don't like to have their boss hovering around watching every little move that they make. So empowerment is the opposite of that. Empowerment is when a boss kind of looks at their employees and says, look, I have faith in you guys that you know what you're doing. I have faith that you can do good things. And so I'm going to kind of back off a little bit and give you a little bit of room to show me what you have. Show me what your skills are. Show me what you can do without me as your quote unquote boss having to tell you every move to make. So when business leaders say we practice empowerment because we don't expect our employees to leave their brains at the door, to me, they're saying that they welcome and they want and they expect their employees to contribute to the process. I know that sometimes in some situations, it's hard to contribute to the process because your employer doesn't seem to give you the ability to do that. Or maybe the particular job that you have right now is one that's very, very structured and you have to do certain things, like you must do A before you do B and you must do B before you do C, or else the whole thing falls apart. But if you are not currently in a job where you have some autonomy and some wiggle room, so to speak, more than likely down the road you will be. So that's, I think, what is meant by that question. Anybody want to add anything?
No, ma'am, you covered it.
Artist says, no, we're good. All right. Let me go back and look at the second question. This one, of course, is due for Friday. Which influence tactic described in the lecture do you think would work best for you? If you do some reading in your book and you look at the lecture, now everybody know hopefully where to find that stuff. Let me go back here and show you. In week number 3, let me keep scrolling down here. There we go. If you look at the text of the weekly lessons, this is where you're going to be able to find information. So this is the lecture that they're talking about. They give it to you in a couple of different formats. But from this overview, what are we talking about when we talk about influence? If we scroll down, we can take a look here. Let's see. Sources of power, tactics for becoming an empowering leader, factors that contribute to organizational politics, political tactics and strategies, models of power and influence. How do you use your tactics to get things done? Okay, so we've got some things here that they consider to be good things: ethical and honest influential tactics, leading by example, developing a reputation of being a subject matter expert, legitimating requests, exchanging favors and bargaining, practicing hands-on leadership. And then they have a list of things that I think, or they say, are dishonest. And they call undue pressure and coercion, debasement, ingratiation, joking and kidding, bullying, cruelty. Obviously, I think that a lot of those are bad things. Joking and kidding, I don't know if necessarily that is a dishonest influence tactic. I think sometimes, especially in serious situations, you need a little bit of comic relief once in a while to get everybody to take a deep breath and be able to maybe step away from this situation for just a moment or two. Now, obviously, if you're working in the medical field and this is a life and death type of situation, in the neurotrauma unit is not the place where you want to be joking around and kidding. But in most business situations, in the office, when something goes wrong or something needs to be redone or something kind of funny happens with a client or with a coworker, there's an old saying that being able to laugh at yourself is a good thing. And I think, again, every single one of us have found something that's happened funny, and we've been the butt of a joke once in a while in our lives. And, being able to, like I said, step away from a situation, sometimes I think it can diffuse tension if you can joke and kid a little bit. Gentle manipulation, they have this down as a manipulative and dishonest influence tactic. My guess is that most of you have been gently manipulated by a boss, knowingly or unknowingly along the way, and that you probably have used this with a friend or a spouse or a child in your life somewhere in order to get some things done. So, I think that when you're reading through some of these lessons, keep an open mind, take a look at things. And sometimes I think if you just kind of come at the topic from a little bit different angle, you can switch around the meaning as well. So they want you for this discussion board to go ahead and talk about what influence tactics you think would work the best for you, and talk about why. Now, remember, again, when you're doing these discussions, they have to be at least 250 words. And a lot of you are hitting that very easily. And every once in a while, one of you comes in a little bit below that. You don't want to do that because you need to elaborate on the topics enough so that I can see that you have done some research and you've thought about it. And also to give your classmates a fighting chance of having some good substantive work that they can respond to as well, okay? So if you're coming in below that word count, push yourself a little bit more in this week to see if you can't beef up that word count a little bit, okay? Questions about that?
No, ma'am.
No? How about, maybe I should say comments rather than questions. Any comments?
No, you covered it.
I'm just making your life easy, aren't I, Artis?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What is meant by Machiavellian behavior? Discuss the historical origins and context associated with the term. Okay, I'm going to back off of this one, and I'm going to make you guys do the research on that. How's that? So I can't hand feed you everything. If you look up in the lecture, they talk about Machiavellian behavior. Also, if you go out and just do some simple internet research, I promise you that you will find more information on this topic than you ever wanted to know. We want you to discuss the historical origins a little bit and what's the context that is associated with the term. If somebody talks about Machiavellian behavior, does that usually have a positive connotation or a negative connotation, and why? And then also, we ask that you provide some specific examples of this type of behavior. Okay, so now again, for the assignments, remember we're at the 300 or the 500 to 600 word range. The first one that you had was 250 to 300, and that was kind of the easy one, the one to ease you into the term. So the one for week 2, and now this one that we're looking at for week 3 is in the 500 to 600 word range. Make sure you are APA formatting. Most of you are doing a really great job with that. Separate title page. You should have a 12-point font, 1-inch margins. You should be double spacing the body of your paper, and they really should be an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. And then there should be APA formatted references on a separate reference page. So that's kind of what encompasses good APA formatting. And it's just a good idea for you to get used to that here as we are going along in our classes, because you're going to see that in all your other classes. You're going to see it if some of you go off and decide to do graduate work down the road. You will see it as well. So you want to make sure that you are APA formatting. Okay. All right. So, that pretty much covers what I wanted to talk to you guys about for week number 3. Again, I wanted to give you that heads up that before we know it, we're going to be on top of Christmas and there's going to be a holiday in there. So really the takeaway from tonight, on top of the information that we went over quickly about your assignments, is that when we go into the week that goes from the 21st to the 27th, technically speaking, Christmas is obviously the 25th, and so you really should be working on stuff as soon as possible next week in order to get your work done. Or again, I have no problem with you doing some of that work through the term. And I know, some people like to be able to walk away from their classes and not think about them at all. Other people look at a break week as a way to jump in and get a few things done that maybe have fallen through the cracks and not gotten done. So whichever way you work it. I would, however, like to have you, if you owe me anything from a previous week, I'll be going back in during the break week myself and looking for any previously missed work. So if you have missed the week 1 paper or the week 2 paper, along the way, you missed that for some reason, getting that in during the break week would be great. Also, if you missed a discussion along the way, the only thing that really can't be made up is the quizzes close at the end of each week. So if you go into week number 4 knowing that you're not going to get all that work done, you just want to make sure that you get the quiz done, because that's the thing that is going to close and give you some problems if you don't get that done. So that's the bit of advice I guess I would give you for that. Okay. So next week, I will be back in town. My guess would be, maybe Monday or Tuesday chat, potentially maybe even Wednesday during the day. I'm not sure yet. I have to look and see how my trip goes and when I'm back in town. But again, what I've been trying to do is kind of grab a day here and a night there, and in between to see if we can hit people's schedules so that I can meet as many of you as possible in some of these live chats. So that is what I have. Artists and Ashanti, any comments? Anything you guys want to add before I let you go for this evening?
No, ma'am.
That was great. That was in stereo. Very nice, guys. Did you plan that? You're like, count to 3 and then say no ma'am really fast. Okay. All right. Well, then I hope you guys have a great week 3. I will see you next week. Again, you know how to find out about these meetings as I post them in the news forum, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Make it a great week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.
You too.
Okay. Good night. Good night.